There's no reason for economic catastrophe in Canada. There's really no reason. All our problems are self-inflicted, and the person who inflicted them is Justin Trudeau. At some points, everyone in Canada is very happy because people are happy that Justin Trudeau had to walk down the steps, go in front of the camera, and say, "I failed." This is a consequence of, I think, the new Trump administration. Is pretty clear the Liberals had no plans whatsoever. From a Canadian perspective, I think this might be very good because then we have the bargaining power to go, "Hey, we know you hate Justin Trudeau. We don't really have a government right now. Wait to the results of this election, and then let's talk about trade deals and all this different stuff." Effectively, we're not going to have a government for the next 2 months, which is a vast improvement on the current government in a lot of people's estimations. It's sort of standard hypocrisy. So if you're an Indian and wondering why is he treating us unfairly, he's not. He's treating you the same way he treats Canadians, with contempt and hypocrisy and condescending. I do think his goal is to be in officially the prime minister when the G7 is in Canada in June. So I think he'll want to sort of say, "Oh, we'll have the elections after that, so I can call myself president of the G20." Yeah, so he just announced his resignation from Liberal leadership and then subsequently prime ministership once there is a new Liberal leader in a process that he will say months ahead. So at some points, everyone in Canada is very happy because people are happy that Justin Trudeau had to walk down the steps, go in front of the camera, and say, "I failed." Well, he said, "I was the greatest prime minister ever. I'm amazing. Everyone loved me." But the only problem in the last 10 years is there wasn't enough Trudeau, and for that, I'm sorry. But he's staying on as prime minister for now. We have a liberal leadership race. We have parliament prorogued until the middle of March. Things are happening. They're going to have to come back in March to pass something. So we're looking at a summer election, which is kind of where we all predicted things would go. This is a consequence of, I think, the new Trump administration. Is pretty clear the Liberals had no plans whatsoever for Trump getting back in office. They spent the last 8 years making Trump bad a central part of their foreign and domestic policy. That was really destabilizing to Canada-U.S. relations. It was fine when Biden was in office, but standard foreign policy, international relations, don't take sides in the internal politics of your allies. That's just not what you should do. It's what we did pretty consistently over the 10 years. So the Trump administration came in and decided to return the hostility back to the Trudeau administration, threaten the 25% tariffs. And I think that really pushed things along um, and forced it out. So from a Canadian perspective, I think this might be very good because then we have the bargaining power to go, "Hey, we know you hate Justin Trudeau. We don't really have a government right now. Wait to the results of this election, and then let's talk about trade deals and all this different stuff." So it gives us a better, sort of excuse to the Americans to just ask for a delay on all of this. Will it be granted? Who knows? But effectively, we're not going to have a government for the next 2 months, which is a vast improvement on the current government in a lot of people's estimations. And we will have a new liberal leadership race, and a new liberal leader will come in. I have my own thoughts about the future of the Liberal Party, but that's the story for another day. But I think Canadians are quite happy across the board to just be done with Trudeau. Now, do some people think, "Oh, it's just Trudeau who did this"? Or do the Canadians understand that this is actually the policies of the Liberal Party that have affected their lives? We'll find out if the hatred is more towards Trudeau or the Liberals. I mean, there is a special type of condescending narcissism that Canadians have always found off-putting in Justin Trudeau. It started back in his first term. He accused small business owners, doctors, and lawyers of being tax cheats, while maintaining loopholes for his own trust fund. So he, passed a law called small business owners and doctors tax cheats, and used that to then protect his own personal pension because he comes from incredible wealth. He comes from oil wealth and a future prime minister, and then rails against nepotism and the energy industry. It's sort of standard hypocrisy. So if you're Indian and wondering why is he treating us unfairly, he's not. He's treating you the same way he treats Canadians, with contempt and hypocrisy and condescending. So in a sense, he treats you like you really are his people, with the true contempt of that he has for the average Canadian. He does have for you as well. So I think everyone's in a good mood in Canada over this. There's just a hardened. I mean, if you watch the CBC, the news media, especially the CBC, it is kind of funny right now. It's sort of like a funeral there, like they're having a funeral. Rosemary Barton and David Cochran, they look like they've lost, like they looks like a dog, like their family dog just got run over in front of them, which I'm enjoying, and a lot of Canadians are also enjoying. Just the look of just utter shock on their face. Um, so yeah, the Liberal Party was an untenable political party going forward, with there being two open fact. They're a minority party, and there's two factions in the party. One led by the former deputy prime minister, and they're having a public war. It was untenable and couldn't go along. So Trudeau has managed to sort of kick down. How much more time can he squeeze out as prime minister? We'll find out. I do think his goal is to be in officially the prime minister when the G7 is in Canada in June. So I think he'll want to sort of say, "Oh, we'll have the elections after that, so I can call myself president of the G20." Because again, this has always been his priority, is to be seen as an international leader at like a United Nations, international human rights, something climate change. He's always wanted to do that. So he'll get to fulfill one of his lifelong dreams, which is calling himself president of the G7, and millions of Canadians will get to see their lifelong dream of watching Trudeau resign from office.
Uh, if I may ask, what's the future for Justin Trudeau? Also about the stability for Canada, the political stability. If you can share your thoughts on that.
Okay, so first the future of Justin Trudeau, and I've said this for a while. And people think I'm joking because Justin Trudeau's hero and professional hero is Greta Thunberg. That is who he is most jealous of. He literally wants to be a Swedish teenager, or himself. He wants to like go on a boat to Europe to, again, just say diversity and climate change is important. Like he wants to be some, head or figurehead of some large international NGO, so he can call himself very important. And yeah, and of course, money laundering. That's an important part of global NGOs, money laundering and capitulating to terrorist organizations. So that's also, but that again, that's very much up for Trudeau's wheelhouse as well. So a bit of a lateral movement there. So that's Justin Trudeau's future, is he will be traveling around Europe, and to different sort of what you would call like globalist institutes colloquially, but again, like the international left wing institutions, you'll see him in those things, talking about how great he is. That's always been his ambition, and I think none of that has changed. Which again, I think that's why he'll be prime minister in June, so he can call himself president of the G20, which he seems to love doing. Um, Now, the future of the stability of Canada, I think Canada will get, after an election, Canada gets a lot more stable because Canada will have likely a strong conservative majority. So the conservatives see which will have a much better future, with brighter future than Americans. And Canada going forward is really good because we have tons of energy, we have tons of resources. There's no reason for economic catastrophe in Canada. There's really no reason. All our problems are self-inflicted, and the person who inflicted them is Justin Trudeau. And for the first time, with the Keystone Pipeline, these energy pipelines, we've always had, when Stephen Harper was prime minister, and we had a pro-Canada, pro-energy prime minister, Barack Obama was prime minister, so was president of the United States, and stalled all energy developments from Canada to the U.S. because oil from Canada, United States is bad for the environment, but oil from Saudi Arabia is good for the environment, right? Go figure that one. So with a Donald Trump and Pierre Poilievre both being pro business, pro resource, pro Canada, pro America leaders, I think you'll have. I think they'll get the pipeline. Keystone Pipeline will get built. There'll be development, and Canada will finally be able to get resources to market. We have tons of LNG. The Japanese and the Europeans wanted to buy our energy. Were begging to buy our energy, and Trudeau shut them down, saying there's no business case for your to sell energy to market. And that was literally his response to people offering us billions of dollars in exchange for our resources. And there isn't really a business case because, as you know, all competent businessmen will tell you what you don't want to do in a business is exchange money for services or products. That's not what you do in business. That's clearly not how businesses work. And businesses instead are grown from the heart outwards. I am joking, but this is also parodying verbatim Justin Trudeau's rhetoric circa 2015. So this madness will stop. The immigration numbers will come down. We'll probably, we'll go back to legal immigration. People will have to prove that they're not a terrorist and not a fraudster and actually can speak the language before they get in, like it was 10 years ago. I think we'll have like a bit of standards again, and hopefully we'll stop funding international terrorist syndicates. That would be nice. I would like that. Um, or and all that. So I think Canada. I mean, Canada's going to be a bit rocky until Trudeau's out of office because he's going to squeeze everything out of this. But a summer election is better than a fall election, and with a conservative party in Canada and a Republican party in the United States linking up, those pipelines that have been in stalled for 20 years by different left-wing leaderships will be most likely um, driven through, and Canadian resources will get to market, and then billions of dollars will start to flow into the country. And once Canadians have jobs and money and wealth, a lot of the problems in the country will dissipate. I mean, it doesn't solve everything, but a rich country and a functioning, rich, wealthy country with problems is better than a incompetent, struggling, poor country with problems. It's easier to fix your problems if you have resources going to market at a high rate.
This brings me to the final question. What does this resignation mean to India-Canada relationship? Your take.
I think it's really good because in my limited travels here in India for a few days, I've been asking people about Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh and Canada in general out of that. And the general Indian vibe I get from a lot of people is they have no problem with Canada. They like Canada. They know we're nice people and all this and that. But when Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh come up, then Indians turn into me and start ranting. So I'm pretty confident that under a conservative government, it would improve. And you could say, oh, there are some Khalistanis in the conservative government, and no problem, party is perfect. And a lot of the Khalistanis in the conservative party are just due to ignorance. The Khalistan issue is not understood nearly as much in Canada. However, the Khalistanis do act as a proxy of the Muslim Brotherhood. And the Muslim Brotherhood has been sort of activated since October 7th on they've all come out of the woodwork and done the sort of they're railing against Israel and Jews and burning down synagogues and whatever. But the Conservative Party is very pro-Israel and they understand the threat of radical Islamic terrorists. So if you have a government that is, again, they don't understand Khalistan, but they understand the Communist Party of China and the Muslim Brotherhood, which are the two main allies and basically the bedrock of the Khalistan movement here in Canada. It's like one finances it mostly through the ISI in Pakistan, and the other kind of taught it how to act through the political left and helped it infiltrate and work in concert. So with those factions, right, being the CCP and the Muslim Brotherhood losing significant influence in our politics, even though there are some Khalistanis who are trying to get to the Conservative Party and foreign interference is a problem, um, they will find far less fertile ground to operate under a conservative government. And it's not because the conservative government is like stridently against Canada. Again, it's Canada. It's me and like 10 other people who understand this issue who aren't from India. But they understand the issues that are sort of auxiliary to it. Those are well understood issues in our country. So in that point, I would be hopeful because and especially the current faction of the Conservative Party, opposed to the previous faction, is not friendly to the Muslim Brotherhood.